In this episode, we're back on the CNC plasma table conversion for the CertiFlat plasma cutting table. Say that 3 times fast. When we left off on the plasma table, I was waiting on some parts. I got some of those parts in, but still waiting for a couple more. And it's very frustrating because those are like the last 2 parts I need, and they're so simple. So I think I've scavenged enough stuff that we can rig everything up, and with any luck, cross your fingers, we're going to be cutting on this bad boy today. Now, it's not going to be any high level of precision. We're not going to be doing, how fast can the machine cut, or not exploring any of that. I just want to make sure that it's going to work the way I think it is. And as you can see, we still have the blue temporary cabling. If it works the way I think it will, and it cuts, the next time we see this, I'm going to have all the good stuff on it, and it's going to be in its final form. So let me quit talking. I'm going to show you where we're at and the progress we have made. I'm going to try my best to get this thing cutting today. Okay, so a couple things that have changed since the last video. I do have the plasma cutting torch mounted, and I have 3D printed some parts for the plasma cutter. It's really cool when a machine can help build another machine, but just end caps and that sort of thing. And instead of buying, I've decided to give 3D printing a drag chain a shot. I kind of cleaned up the cabling. I know it doesn't look like it, but zip tied the torch lead just temporarily, made sure it had enough slack to go all the way across the table, and just kind of cleaned up back there. Everything's temporarily hooked up. I only have one compressor feeding the table, the air dryer sitting there. Plasma cutter is down here on a milk crate. It is all hooked up. I did make the CNC cable, that little guy right there. And that runs all the way up into our control box. I have the e-stop now, which is not hooked up. I have a power button, which turns it all on. I've got a distribution block for when I do the micro switches, which I do have the micro switches, but in this video we're not going to put those in. That'll be part of that final piece. I have my relay, and my relay runs to that CNC port on the plasma. So now if you can see in there, there's 3 prongs. I need to provide 12 volts and then the signal to kick the relay over, and that signal comes from our CNC board. That's the part I'm going to have to rig up. Found this floating around. What I really need is a 3-pin connector, but I couldn't find one, so what I'm going to do is butcher this and make that 3-pin. Now the problem is I don't have 12 volts anywhere in here. This power supply is 24 volts. So what I need to do is rig something up to provide 12 volts DC to that relay, and that'll be 2 of the wires on this, and then the third is going to be the relay trigger off the CNC board. If I get it right, when the computer in Linux CNC tells the CNC board to kick the plasma cutter on, that CNC control board will send that signal to that relay. It will short out the 2 wires that are connected to the plasma cutter, and that'll initiate the arc. Got my relay hooked up, albeit temporary. So what I want to do is power it up and power on the CNC box and controls and make sure everything looks good. Then what I want to do is take my multimeter, run a program on the PC, and see if I can see the switch on the relay that's acting as a switch for the CNC plasma actually open and close. So we'll go ahead and fire this up. And well, that's not good. As soon as I powered it on, I saw a little puff of smoke coming out of a relay board. Yeah, I burnt it up. The smoke looks like it was either coming from that little chip or this diode. It was my fault. I got in a rush, and the relay, if it'll focus, anyway, it's clearly labeled negative, positive, and signal. Well, I had positive, negative, and signal. Good thing these are only $5. Bad thing is, I don't have another one. What I think I may do is change the program for the test piece that I want to cut and add a delay to turn the torch on and off, and use some sort of switch to manually turn on the plasma cutter. So what will happen is, if this works, is the torch will move into its home position. We'll start the program. We'll see it move. It'll pause for a second. That'll indicate to me that I need to press the button. It'll start its cut. It'll stop. I let go, move over to the next section, pause, press the button, and so on. So let me rig that up. I've already gone ahead and ordered 2 more of these because stupid. So yeah, we're gonna make this thing cut one way or another. It's gonna cut. So to try to trigger the arc on the plasma cutter, I needed a switch. So I found a momentary switch and modeled and 3D printed a little pistol grip with the momentary switch in there, if you can see that. Just press and hold, shorts the 2 wires. So I need to connect these 2 wires to the 2 wires coming out of the plasma cutter. I'm going to hook that up. I'm going to test to make sure that it actually fires off the plasma cutter. And if that works, the next step is to fire up that part. We're going to try to get it cut. Yes. Even with it hooked up, probably not the best way in the world, and me manually pulling the trigger, we still got our first part cut on the CNC plasma conversion. So cool. So, where to now? What I need to do is get a better handle on the software. Because as you can see, there were supposed to be 2 holes popped in that piece, but my lack of experience with the software, I didn't have it cut the layers correctly. Wow, that's awesome. I am thrilled beyond all belief that it actually worked. There's some tweaking I need to do, of course, and now that we know that it's going to work, I need to permanently mount some airlines in the garage, and I need to pull 220 and 110 from the breaker back there over to the plasma table to run the compressors, the computer, the controller, the plasma cutter, and all that. But man, that's so cool. I'm gonna get all that stuff done. I'm gonna put the new wiring in, clean everything up, and I'm gonna dial it in. And then the next video you see on this is gonna be in its final form, where we're cutting parts, like legit parts, gussets and plates for stuff, and maybe even some artsy stuff. Yeah, so cool. Thanks for joining me on this journey. It's been frustrating, it's been stressful, but after that it's been very rewarding. And in the next video too, we'll kind of go through, is it worth it, you know, what was the cost involved, that sort of thing. So if you're interested in that, stay tuned. If you like this content, make sure you give me a thumbs up. That's very much appreciated. Hit that like button, and if you haven't yet, consider subscribing. Plenty more where that came from, so stay tuned. Until next time, guys, get up, get out there, and do it.